She hit Success Club 5 for 31 consecutive months since she joined in January of 2014. She is a mom to 7-year-old Jaden and wife to David, who is here, and who has been just a huge supporter on Whitney's journey, doing programs with her and everything. The next slide, you don't have to do it yet. Oh, here it is. Whitney's amazing, amazing transformation, and in the process, she'll share with you, but yeah, I won't say anymore. You have a story to share. Here's Whitney.
Hi, thank you all for being here. Okay, so my personal theme for my journey is strong. I was always the strong one. I'm the oldest of 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. I have 2 amazing supportive parents. My dad is a retired federal judge, so I grew up as a judge's kid, kind of like a pastor's kid. I was a little bit crazy. A super supportive mom who is my biggest fan, has been since I was born. Still is. She's bummed out she's not here. She's like, you better be videotaping. So my story starts when I was little. I grew up in this awesome family, and we celebrated with food. Bad days, you got food. Good days, you got food. For ice cream, we ate really well. I knew vegetables and things like that, but it was a lot of everything. A lot of pasta, a lot of meat, always clean your plate. Eat more. Grandma was always shoving more and more at us, things like that. And chocolate was like the biggest staple. My grandmother is a self-proclaimed chocoholic, my mom is, and myself. We didn't know what vanilla ice cream was even, chocolate, everything. So that's just kind of how I grew up. And then, and it was normal, everything was fine, we just ate a lot. And then in 2007, our world was rocked. My little brother passed away suddenly. And me being the oldest, immediately went to be the strong one and took care of my parents, made the slideshow for the memorial service, just put on that happy face, and did everything I needed to do. I took care of my little sister, I took care of my brother's friends, and I was just, do what you gotta do. And behind the scenes, I ate. I ate like crazy. And I drank a lot of wine. I love wine. Still love wine, nothing wrong with wine, but as we've learned, 3 glasses a week. Thanks, God. So, it just kind of kept going from there. And that was kind of my role. It wasn't anything I ever, talked about or worried about. It was just kind of who I was. And then in 2008, I found out I was pregnant, and I wasn't supposed to, I was told I couldn't have children. And so it was kind of a crazy shock, and I was really sick. And I ate. And I ate ice cream like you wouldn't believe. I'm pretty sure I could have won some contest. And bacon. So much bacon. Bacon was the one thing, this is really weird, but bacon is the one thing that never made me, I never got sick. So I would just, I'm about to get sick or I don't feel good, eat the bacon. And I worked in a restaurant, and so it was they just had it on point for me at all times in the kitchen. And every time I went to the doctor, she's like, Whitney, you're gaining weight really fast. Whatever, you lose it, right, when you have the baby? So I left the hospital in 2009, and I had gained almost 80 pounds in my pregnancy. I'm 5'4", and I was tipping the scales at over 200 pounds. And I had never been close to that. So I was a little bit I guess you don't lose it. My baby's 7 pounds, that doesn't do much. So, the new mom, you're just kind of doing whatever. I felt really gross. I had a lot of complications in my delivery. He had dislocated my tailbone, so I couldn't do a lot of activity. And it was just, you just eat, you're eating. You're up all night, you're eating. You're breastfeeding, you're eating. So I was just eating whatever. Ice cream and bacon were still staples. And I remember New Year's Eve the next year, so he was a year old, just a year old, I looked at a picture of myself and I didn't even recognize myself. I had put on more weight and I didn't even know what to do. I felt completely defeated. And so I started walking, I even ran a 5K, but the food thing never got under control and I never really cared enough to, or knew what to do. And then in 2010, my marriage started to fall apart. And I was the strong one, and I hid it from everybody. I didn't tell a soul what was happening behind the scenes in my house. And I had to be the mom, and I ate, and I ate, and I drank, and I drank. And finally in 2012, I filed for divorce. And my husband moved out, and on the weekends I didn't have my child, I would eat ice cream until I would get sick. And I would drink wine, and I don't even want to know how many bottles. And then that year was the worst year of my life. I became extremely depressed and was just going through the motions, being the strong one, but people finally knew, Whitney wasn't perfect. And it was a small town. And I was just, doing the motions for my son. But I was eating constantly. I was extremely depressed and I couldn't sleep. And I went to the doctor and they were like, you need to get this under control. Like, you've already lost your brother to diabetes, your son has hereditary high blood pressure, and you are on the cusp of all of this and more. So I ended up deciding I needed to leave town. And I met somebody who's now my husband, and went to California and took my son to California and decided I needed to just start over and I couldn't be the strong one anymore. And I needed to just make the decision to take care of myself so I could be the best mom. So I had there was a going away party that they had for me in Oregon before I drove to California. And I had mentioned that I had seen a commercial with Shaun T, who I of course loved. And I wanted to do T25, it had just come out. And so she said, well, there's coaches, and my friend's a coach. You should look her up on Facebook and you can join this group. Because I told her, I bought Hip Hop Ads, I bought Insanity, and of course, no, I don't even think I opened Hip Hop Ads. And Insanity, I did maybe one program and died. So I was not gonna do that. And so I found my coach on Facebook, and I joined her challenge group, and I loved it. I loved that I could work out from home, but I had the support of all these women, and I loved that they didn't judge me, and nobody gave a shit if I was the strong one. And I could be honest and say, I just completely binged, ate all the ice cream, but I need help getting back on track. So I started and I stopped, and I started and I stopped, but I always started again. I didn't have to yo-yo diet anymore. Nobody cared. They're just start. So we just would do it again, Monday, until the point when I was obsessed with Shakeology. My doctor was obsessed with the ingredients. My son's blood pressure had leveled out, which was amazing because I didn't want this little boy to have to be on blood pressure medication his whole life. And so I asked my coach about the coaching opportunity for the accountability and for the discount. And so I signed up with the challenge pack. And P90X3 had just come out, and I fell completely head over heels for Tony Gordon. My team jokes that he's my boyfriend because I get every time I see him. And I did a whole program. It was the first program I did start to finish. I lost almost 40 pounds in those 90 days. And I had my own challenge group at this point, and I was building a team, and it was my family. They were my fit family. We showed up every single day. We shared our failures, we shared our successes, and I just felt incredible. I was sleeping better, I was happier, I was a better mom. And I even got to meet Tony Horton and share my story with him, which was incredible. So since then, I have completed every program, and I am obsessed with 21 Day Fix Extreme. It's the best. If you haven't done it, do it. It's so fun. Autumn's the best. I still love Tony, obviously. I will never break up with him ever. And I have lost 65 pounds and kept it off. And my family is active. My husband does the programs with me. We eat really well. We have learned portions. There's no more crazy bacon amounts and no more giant wine binging. And my son is super active and I can be active with him. We got married and I got to rock the little white lacy wedding dress that I wanted to on the beach, and it was a dream come true. I couldn't even believe the pictures. So my advice is to never give up and to always know that strive for progress, don't strive for perfection. Don't worry about being the strong one. Challenge groups your team is there because you can all be strong together. There's more strength in numbers. And just keep going because it's worth it. So, you're worth it. Who was crying? Just me?